Why is it important for brands, media companies, and agencies to help their clients and their own business own their own data?
For sure. Great question, Bill. So a lot of what everyone talks about is how do I get access to first party data? In the world where there's no more cookies or mobile IDs and IDFAs, and I can't use these things anymore, I need to have first party data like a household address, things that are typically in my database. And I need more and more of that so that I can better my advertising. So, what it means to own it means that exactly what that list is, the audiences within those lists, and what that audience is comprised of, right? So typically when people say, hey, I use audiences all the time, it's true for most brands, it's true for most agencies, it's true for big data houses as well, like Axiom. And what they do is they say, hey, we have audiences, and the audiences are essentially anonymized, and they are cookie based, and they may sit in a DSP like a Trade Desk or an Amobi or Oracle and Polk have in market audiences. Or even if I'm a small business and I put a retargeting pixel right on my site. So if it's like a Facebook pixel or it's a Google pixel, which is kind of what most of the world does when it comes to retargeting, those are audiences, but they are all cookie-based audiences, and you don't actually know who's within that. And lastly, you don't own it, right? So let's take the example of, hey, I do remarketing and I have retargeting audiences that I think I own that. I have that, right? And it sits in my Google Ads. Now, what happens is that if you no longer use Google Ads or you want to use something else, or Google decides, they want to change up their platform, I'm no longer going to have access to those audiences. Even though I put the Google pixel on my site, right? And I'm letting them create this audience for me, I don't own it. It's actually Google that owns it, which in the world that we live in is not surprising. Google wants to own a lot of different things. They're a huge beast, and Facebook's, a competitor beast, and they do the exact same thing. So you put your Facebook audience pixel, on your site, and essentially Facebook is collecting your audience and they own it, right? You don't actually own it. I mean, you can go into Facebook ads and you can check off, hey, I want to hit this audience, but you don't actually own it. You can't download it. It's not yours. So that's really what, owning your data, it's a buzzworthy statement. It is something that people talk a lot about. But when you really get down to what does it mean at the end of the day, it is essentially a list of first-party data that you can have the details for, and then you can bring that data anywhere you want to activate it.